Welcome to day 4 of the yoga challenge. Let's begin by getting comfortable in a seated position, and we'll move into our breathing. We can close the eyes and start to follow the inhale from the tip of your nose down through the passage, air passage into the lungs. And start to increase the length of your inhale and exhale. You can visualize the inhale moving down the spine and visualize the exhale moving up the spine. Visualize the inhale moving down the spine, deeper down into the center of the earth. And imagine the exhale moving up the spine, higher up, past the crown of the head. Follow the waves of sensation in your breath. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center. And notice what you're willing to receive. And notice if there's anything you're willing to let go of. We'll open with a single Om. Inhale to Om. We'll begin today by coming up onto the feet. So as we come up onto the feet, you have a choice. You can bring the feet right together, okay? Or if it's more effective for you to stand with your feet a little bit apart, then do that. And we just want to create a parallel inside and outside edges of the feet. So this is called mountain pose. This is the basis for all of our standing poses. You might notice if you sway forward or backwards where your weight is positioning. So bring yourself to center. Taking in some deep breaths here. And we'll start to bring the arms up, palms facing forward, lifting the heels. And one thing that can really bring us towards gravity is bringing our muscles towards the center line. Bringing our legs and arms towards the center line. And you can feel, even if you hug your inner ankles towards each other slightly, the body steadies a little easier. Tuning into the sound of your breath. And exhale, releasing the arms. So let's stand now with the heels together and the feet, kind of duck feet, and looking down to check that the heels are together, and then standing straight. And if you need to adjust where the feet are in order to stand steady, then do that. Palms of the hands facing forward. Notice the body and where it is resting and where it is supported. Notice that space behind you. And bringing action towards the back, the space behind you, and all of the connections in the body that are behind you are really coming from the heel, up the back of the leg, all the way up the back of the spine, to the back of the arms, the back of the hands, the back of the head, all the way to the top of the head. So in this position, we're meeting all of those engagements in the back of the body that bring support to our structure. And just breathing, getting to know that space in the back of the body. And then exhale, we can release the hands, or rather release the leg position. We're going to come into chair, and so in chair position, the feet again can be hip width apart, and as we start to sit down towards chair, the fingers can be a good marker. If you place your hands right at the crease of the pelvis, so that when you start to sit, and you can almost fold over your finger. And that's the area that we're really starting to drop back towards the heels. Okay? But bring your shoulders and elbows back, and even bring your chest up. We'll bring the arms out in front of us. We can take this position all day long. Okay? The shoulders are slightly back. And then a third position would be palms pressing together. there is force downwards, there's pressure downwards, and there is length and growth upwards. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, releasing the arms. So we're going to move through 3 sun salutation A's. And it's not meant for everyone, but it certainly gets the heart rate up. And if you're physically able and you're not injured, then doing these in your practice properly can really add to your practice. Okay, but different days call for different practices. So if you're feeling like you need to take it gentle, you could do 1 sun salutation, or you could do the whole 3. And I'll take you through first with the variation that will be a good place to begin if you haven't done this before. So sun salutation A. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift with the spine. And in a single exhale, lower with control. Inhale, cobra, adjusting your hands where they need to be, pelvis on the floor. And exhale, downward facing dog. Tune into that ujjayi breath, that sound in the throat. We look forward, step forward, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach up. And exhale, release. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 5 breaths. Give or take. Just really getting the quality out of that inhale and exhale. Looking forward, stepping forward, inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, release the arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward dog. Looking forward, stepping. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up. And exhale, releasing the arms. So we'll move into a wide stance here. Normally I would not have you wear socks, very dangerous, although I was trying to add some color to the video. So I'll take them off now for safety. Stepping back with both feet, wide stance with the legs. Exercise the ability to lift up all of your toes. And anchor all four corners of each foot. It's important to be grounded, yes. So from here, hands to the waist, elbows pointing back. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, fold halfway. Inhale, come back up. Okay. Stay in the position, or actually you could step forward for a second. If you don't have a block, which I'm guessing you don't, I looked around the house to find something similar to a block, and a hard-covered book, believe it or not, could be a good block. Okay. All I'm looking for is something that is about this height and relatively stable. We'll put it down here in front of the face. What are you looking at, bird? Inhale, elbows pointing back, lift the chin. And exhale, fold halfway. You're going to take your right hand down to the book or the block, and I want that in line with the center of my chest. Left hand can stay on the hip, legs are straight, have the ability to lift the toes, but press the toes into the ground. And as you push down through your right arm, roll the left shoulder back, taking a small twist here, breathing deeply. So if the head is hanging, or that you're curving the spine, we want to maybe bring the forehead back a little bit, maybe push the right shoulder in front of the face a bit. Okay, both hips are lifting. Both legs are straight. Really trying to increase the distance between your hip and your armpit through your breathing. If it's there, you can reach the arm and look at the palm of the hand. But what's useful is if the arms rotate outwards, biceps rotate outwards. Exhale, hand to the left hand to the ground, right hand to the hip. We work from the ground up, so as you push down through the left arm, shift the shoulder in front of the chest maybe, and take your right shoulder back. You don't have to reach this arm up, especially if you're not quite there, it doesn't feel right. So keep pulling the right shoulder back. And then we'll come back to center. Great. And let's take the hands to the waist and inhale, come back up. Good. We'll step forward with the feet. So we'll move into a forward fold again. The left foot is going to step back. Okay? And as you step the left foot back, we have options for the hands. Hands can be at the waist. If you could reach back and grab your wrists or your forearms, you could do that. Okay? And if you are a little bit more open in the shoulders, then clasping your hands together could work too. All three variations will work. Take the front of the shoulders back. Inhale, lift the chin. And exhale, lead the movement initially with the pelvis. Lengthen through the legs. Manage the shoulders, manage the hips. Inhale, come up. And step forward, exhale. And then you can switch which arm is on top maybe. That's the variation you're taking. The right foot can step back. And you can do a shorter stance. If you felt like your feet are slipping, shorter stance, we don't want to be slipping. And so shoulders are facing forward, both legs straight. Inhale and exhale. As you lead with the pelvis, even lift the toes just a bit. So we're getting really exact which part of the foot needs to shift for you to be centered in the foot. And then extend your legs from those centered feet. Come back to standing. So there's really, there's a lot going on, but there's two very distinct sensations going on. There's the muscular work, the matter, this body is working and contracting to align itself. And so there is an effort that is happening on a physical level. And when we're breathing, there's a different kind of energy that we're working with. And so we're able to breathe and create more space. So the muscular is contracting to the center, and the breathing and the energy is expanding from the center. So we could see that as expression. And so this is where aligning ourselves to gravity is the work, the physical work, and then elevating our expression, so that gratitude is in every breath, so that every movement becomes a way for you to move energy through the body and get more centered. So from here we'll move into triangle. We'll step back with the left foot. The structure is what we can see. We're trying to put the bones in alignment. I want my hips in alignment with both heels. And in triangle, I'm tipping at the hips. So I can be here, support with the hand. Some of you are more flexible and the hand could come lower to the ankle maybe. And as you position the right shoulder maybe in front of the face a bit, then the left shoulder has room to maybe come back. Think about if your hips, if the tilt of your pelvis is back right now, think about tilting the pelvis forward a bit. Maybe leaning the forehead back a bit. Right? There's steadiness in the feet. As we come up, inhale. And then exhale, step forward. We'll take the right foot back. And then inhale, reaching out. And exhale, coming into the pose. Maybe hands are at the waist. Maybe if you don't really feel what's happening at the hips yet, the hands can stay on the waist. And I'm basically stacking. Like if I look down at my foot, my chin is above my foot, my shoulder's above my foot, my wrist is above my foot. And when I open the right shoulder, it's above the foot. And I'll bring my pelvis forward into action and really press my right thigh back. Inhale, come up, and we'll step forward. Taking a few deep breaths. Just kind of releasing into your grounding, into your open feet, into an aligned position where you can just soften into your body. And from standing here, let's take the hands to the hips. Feet can be hip-width apart. And we'll come to just a little bit of a standing back bend. So let's just play with two components here. As we bring the hips forward towards being in front of the toes, I want to straighten my legs. I want to think of sending the front of my thigh to the back of my mat, but I'm sending the hips forward. Okay, so breathing here and then starting to lift the ribs up. And the head is straight or slightly tilting up. And if you have a wall in front of you, bringing the hips towards the wall and lifting the chest higher up. Not going back. Only thing going back is your elbows and shoulders trying to get together back there. If the neck is a strain, keep your head straight. And then bring it back to center and release the arms. Not every pose is for everybody, and as you start to bring awareness to your body, you'll know what's right for you and what's not, and you have to use your own discretion, but I also encourage you to keep trying, because there's a lot to map out about yourself, and sometimes tools that didn't work all of a sudden do work. So keep being curious and keep looking for ways to get into your body. So we can use the wall for this next one, or we can use the ground. If you got two books will be handy, and if you don't have 2 books, you could use the wall. If you got blocks, you can use those. So I'll give you the first variation. We're going to stand away from the wall. If I was to put my hands against the wall and bring my hips back, I'd want my heels right under my hips. You might not be able to see your own legs, but I don't want to be here, okay? And I don't want to be falling over. So find a position where your hips feel like they're above your legs. Like if you let go of the wall, you could stay there, okay? So if you can find the distance that works. And if you're up here, I'd like you to walk your hands up a bit more. Bring your chest to look forward a bit. Okay, and if you need, you can come up higher. Higher is going to be easier. So from here, we're going to take the right leg straight back through the heel, okay? And if this knee feels like it's locking on you, well then bend the knee a bit, or perhaps adjust where your hips are. Lift the right heel, and lift the upper back, and push into the wall. Breathing deeply here. Okay, you're staying here, and if you want, it could look like hands down here and leg up. Okay, so breathing here. They do feel a little different, okay? And of course, both are supporting a lift through the chest. Straight press through the heels. But if it doesn't feel safe, then it's probably not, so keep working towards aligning your hips above your foot. Exhale, feet side by side. You can hang out. And if you were at the wall, you could put your hands on the wall again, and we'll go left leg up. Okay, but lift the heel and push through push through the heel and lift the chest and really push into the hands. So create some structure that keeps trying to grow. And then, or not, and then keep going. If you were doing the second variation, do the second variation. And maybe your leg is only coming up like an inch off the floor. That's great. Stand strong in that connection. Open the feet, open the flexion through the back of the heel. And we'll go feet side by side. And again, you can hang out, a couple of deep breaths. If head below the heart is not working, hang out up here. And come back up to standing. So you have options. Okay, we can vinyasa to the ground, or you can make your way down to pigeon. Okay? Inhale if you're vinyasa, exhale full. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward dog. So we'll bring the right knee forward for pigeon. We'll walk the left leg back. And then we're going to take the blanket if we're using padding. And the padding will go a long way towards helping you release this area. And so maybe I'll show you this just to clarify. In this position, your right knee is coming forward as far as it can, and the back leg's walking back. And if it's quite tight for you, you're going to keep the leg closer in. But if you're quite accustomed to this pose, the foot can come out a bit. The foot has two positions. It could be pointed, in which case you're creating length on the top, or the heel could be flexing. Okay, and both are good, but both have different effects, and you might need one more than the other. So I'm walking the left leg back. My left foot can point or flex. Okay, and I really want some padding right underneath the glute. And I'm trying to suggest to the posture that everything kind of stack on top of the pelvis and release into the pelvis. I like fingertips because you'll strengthen your wrists quicker if you keep straight arms. But also there's a tendency when the hands are on the ground to go limp and not support with the arms. So the support from the arms is the extra little bit that takes you to the pelvis. So you're sharing between left and right arm, left and right hip, left and right leg, and you're finding the center line. Where's the center line? And then you're breathing through that center line. You're expressing openness. And be forgiving. You can wiggle any part of your body. There's no engagement that you can't also relax. And in this position, it's important that you're not running into knee stuff. And if you are, then we're going to make sure that you talk to me about it so we can do something. Take your left forearm onto the ground, okay? It's not obvious, but we're trying to get the back of this right hip down, okay? So as I push into the left arm, it could help me put a little bit more weight there. And then the right hand can help push the right shoulder back. So I'm slightly twisting the belly Nice supporting with the bottom arm and rolling the back shoulder. Rolling back the shoulder. Come back down, hands to the ground. Pick up your back leg, pick up the middle of the body, and step back into downward dog, and then forward with the left knee. So you got to talk nice to these hips. And this is, you know, the gravity of the situation is you're tight, you're tense, you know. Every day we accumulate the tensions. Just like every day your house accumulates dust. And so we can't be mad about cleaning. We have to maybe just accept that cleaning is needed. And we have the option to enjoy ourselves. And I definitely get up for the challenge more to enjoy myself when it gets more uncomfortable. I've kind of given myself that permission. When it gets really uncomfortable, then I dig a little deeper for that grace. So the grace is that behavior. Grace is not so natural. It is a little bit of work. We have to pretend, fake it till you make it. I probably look pretty graceful to you right now, but I am very uncomfortable. And we'll take the right elbow down onto the ground, okay? And make sure the arm is right underneath you so that when you push away from the ground, you can then also shift the right shoulder a little bit in front of the face. Right, when I turn the left shoulder back, it has to equal the push into the ground. If this is too low, you could be up here. And you need a little bit of foot action, a little bit of ankle support, little length through the toes, just to support what's going on with the legs. And then we'll bring the hands underneath the chest. And we'll lift downward dog. And you could do a vinyasa here, or you could just sit forward with your legs out. Okay, so you can inhale high plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale cobra, and exhale downward facing dog. And then hop your feet through and sit down. Your legs now out in front of us. We'll take the left knee in towards the body. First variation with the twist, you could just have your knee in and we'll wrap the arm around. And if the flexibility was there, you could step your left foot across and the right elbow can come around. My left arm comes behind me, quite close to the body, and I pull both shoulders back. Imagine if you could send your right heel further forward with your right hip and pull your left shoulder back. The head is gently moving to where it feels like it could provide for some more direction. So the eyes are looking into the twist. Inhale, come back to center, and just exhale, turning to the opposite. Come back with both legs out in front of you. Take the right knee in. And again, if it's quite tight, you're not breathing so well, the foot is best on the inside. And if you can keep using the breath, you're very much wringing out. So we're breathing in to create length through the spine, keeping that length as you exhale, wringing out the belly. And that looks like left heel pushing forward and right shoulder pulling back. Use your exhale to wrap contraction around the spine, around the belly and abdomen. And come back to center, exhale to the opposite. Releasing both legs. Let's take our feet towards the pelvis. And we'll begin with just our hands behind us. And let's point the hands back. And I'm going to assume that your wrists are tight. So let's start with just fingertips on the ground, okay? I'm not really leaning back to my hands, but see if you can get the fingers on the ground. If it's quite hard, you can go wider, okay? But palm of the hand facing back. Then move towards shoulders rolling back and possibly stretching out the palms. And maybe all that length with the shoulders rolling back, you can start to lift the chest a bit. Maybe the hands could take a new position and we can stay here. If your wrists feel a little weak, use every fingertip to help you straighten the arm. And if it's too much, then stop doing it. Good. Wrap your arms around the knees, hug them in deeply. Sitting up straight with a straight spine. And then let's come back into a balance, into boat posture. The balance is in the continual straightening of the spine. So as you pull the shoulders back and pull the knees in, expressing through your breath more length. Soften the eyes. Soften the expression. Then we'll bring the feet down to the ground and round the spine. And we'll come back up. Let's lay onto the back, okay? And we'll get ready for a bridge, or rather working towards bridge. So feet are on the ground, hips are close to the heels. I'm going to press my hands into the ground and lift the hips up. Okay. The lift combined with pressing away from the feet is sending the weight of my body towards my upper back, and I'm rolling the shoulders back so that there's no part of my neck that's pressing into the ground. Lift the hips higher, and if the hands can press the ground, great. If you want to go deeper with the arms, so you're clasping together, that's quite a jump though. Just working on the first part of your arms, we could, I'll show you a different variation. Exhale, come back down. So this time bend your elbows. I'm really working from my elbow to my shoulder anyway, so the forearm and the hand could just be stacked. Squeeze your elbows in to the body and press the front of the back of your arm into the ground. So lifting up. rotation in your arm is supportive of the upper back having a nice deep valley between the shoulder blades. And that's what I want, so I notice my head and neck are relaxed, my upper arms are working to take a new position. And if the hips are high enough, the hands could support under the hips. And we'll come back down. And again, if you have knee things going on or a low back thing going on, then message me and we can do a session and see what's going on. Hug the knees into the belly. Couple more deep breaths. And if you want, you can bring the forehead towards the knees. And then release for Shavasana. So just getting ready for Shavasana. Get as comfortable as you can. And move the arms to where they lengthen down away from the ears. Move the legs apart slightly and let the feet fall open away from each other. And if your lower back is bothering you at the end of the class, then put a blanket or a pillow under your thighs, and that will help a lot. So a friend of mine brought me a little piece from one of Osho's books, and it was a beautiful present. She said, "This is how I think that this is the message that I feel that you have taught me in yoga." And so Osho points out that gravitation is the law which pulls you down, but grace is the law which pulls you up. You have heard the story that Newton is sitting in the garden and one apple fell. Watching that apple fall, Newton started thinking, why does that apple fall towards the earth? Why directly towards the earth? Why not sideways? Why does it not start flying upwards? The law of gravitation was discovered, and that is that the earth pulls everything down. But he did not see the fruit, he did see the fruit falling. He did see the fruit falling, but he did not see the tree rising up. And whenever I read the story, I always felt that he saw the small fruit, and that he never saw the small fruit falling towards the earth, but he didn't see the tree rising upwards. You throw a stone, it falls back, true, but a tree goes on rising higher and higher. Something is pulling the tree up. A stone is dead, the tree is alive, and life goes higher and higher and higher. So as you relax your body into the ground underneath you, notice that the release of weight shows us lightness. And so surrender this moment to experience the newness of your breath. As if you were sipping in an enjoyable flavor. And so waking up the body, gentle, and stay in the moment as you move towards laying on your side. And we'll come up to a seated position. As you close the eyes, using your breath to feel the quality of space throughout the spine and throughout the rest of the body. Bring your hands together in front of the heart and just connecting to gratitude in a big way. Seeing if you can reach every corner of your life with gratitude. Namaste.